Hey, Paul, got another question for you.
Sure.
Someone has a book idea. What
Okay.
would you suggest on how they should get started writing it?
So it depends essentially what you say, what you mean by idea. An idea can be relatively simple or it could be more complex. But if you want to write a story about it, it's got to be long enough with enough detail that you create an interesting story. So ask yourself this: does your story idea include interesting characters, interesting backstories to the characters? Because, people aren't just with us, I guess I should say with some exceptions, they don't just appear out of nowhere. They have a background that will affect their choices in the storyline and so on. So you have to think about the character. If you get a truly interesting character, you can do almost anything with them as long as people enjoy who the character is. And usually you want to have some kind of character growth.
So you're saying for you, you suggest doing a character study. So take the idea, write down the characters, and then write a paragraph about each character.
You can do it that way. Sometimes that comes a little bit later. Sometimes when I did The Frozen Flame, I literally started with two characters. I had two characters in mind. Athgar and Natalia knew exactly what they were going to be like. I didn't know what the overall plot was.
You didn't know what the plot was at all.
That's right. They were based on non-player characters in a role-playing game.
Yeah.
But the combination of the two characters was so fascinating to me, I knew I had to make a story out of it. Other stories, I've had the plot idea beforehand. Where Power Sending is a good example of
Yes.
that. I had a mild idea of the characters, but they changed significantly when I plotted out how the series was going to progress.
And would you say that when you're writing a book, always be open to the characters changing the narrative?
Yes. I think it's, some people say the characters get away and invent their own storyline. I don't think that's quite true. They can invent new scenes. I guess it's different if you're writing by the seat of your pants, if you're not using an outline. But if you have an outline, you want to stick to the outline, at least in a loose sense. You want the story to progress the way you planned it to progress. That doesn't mean you can't have interesting, side scenes and things like that, because they help develop the character.
That said, you've had characters who were supposed to die and now are in it, or characters supposed to be in one chapter that are now in 5 books.
Sure. Sometimes you write up a character and they're just so interesting, you got to put them to more greater use.